This series of programmes is about a man's climb to a sort of fame, and the effect it had on his life and the lives of those around him.
Oh, it's a bit windy today. Oh, I didn't see that. It's me, Thomas Edward, also known as TE, and welcome to another video. It's a grand video today. We've got something very special for you. We're up at Rivington Pike at the moment. Windhill's behind me. If you live in North, at least one window in your house, you can see Windhill. My brother Macclesfield can see it, and I can see it in Cumbria. That's how big it is. Rivington Pike's behind us, and Pigeon Tower's down there, and the famous Thomas Mawson Garden. But we're not up here to see any of that. That's another day, that is. Today we've come up here because it's the best view in Lancashire, in northern Lancashire, to look down on all the towns, on all the landmarks. So the Bolton Wanderers football ground down there, Lost Up Park, and you can see right up there, you can even see Manchester, some of the towers like the big Hilton in Manchester, just over the hill. But also over the hill, there's a little town, or a little northern town I should say, called Bolton, or is it locally Bolton, and we've come up here because we wanted to see Bolton, because it's a great place where a great man came from, and you already think, I know what he's going on about here. I'm up to see Fred Dibnah and do all the locations, but I'm going to do some locations that have never been seen before on YouTube or documented since Fred filmed in the late 70s, early 80s. And he's a man of legend in all the working classes. He's the working man, and fame wasn't him. Fame kept him out the shed. He'd rather be in the shed than be on TV, and everyone loved it, and it was great. And we'll come to do this special video because Patreons have supported me to do this video, and we've come down for a few days in Lancashire with the whole TE family unit. So come with me, and let's go and do some location hunting with me, Thomas Edwards, and learn. Every day is a school day with TE. Come on, let's go, let's get on with it. And it's a bit windy, it's blowing from over the west, and I'm just going to get blown, I think, but I'm going to walk that way where I've just come from. I'll see you in a bit.
Fred Dibnah, the Bolton steeplejack, was 40 years old when back in 1978 he took part in the first of 19 films which would record the ups and downs of his eventful career. From his earliest days, Fred had set his heart on a life at the top.
To Briar Mill, and Lilac Mill was on the other side, and this is where Fred came. Very early Fred Dibnah episodes, where he's on the top of the mill knocking it down, climbing up the side, and there's a railway underneath of it, what now is the Metro link.
But Mr. Courtall decided that what I'd wrecked weren't worth keeping anyway, so...
And you can't get near it because it's also a working mill, but between Briar Mill and Lilac Mill in the middle, because there's so many buildings, he had to drop it brick by brick and do it every day, and he charged £7,000 to get this job done. And Donald's down the bottom, he said, oh, he's a good man, Donald's, he keeps an eye on everything, and he was down the bottom, but it was behind there. We're going to try and get a better shot and go to the station and try and see if we can see between the two mills. So that's the plan. Oh, just a tram going there to Didsbury. It just went into a little bay platform. It was quite good. It crossed over. It was really good actually. So there they say proud to be brown, or Ben, or it's got proud to be N Brown. It says, and it's got a bridge. And look, there's a little tug there pulling a big a tractor unit pulling a trailer. It says Every on it. I like good Every. But it used to be Hermes. Well, when that bridge is there, where it says proud to be N Brown, that is the location of the chimney, what was part of the Briar Mill. And Fred's in that yard, and he's got his Land Rover parked in the yard, and the chimney's going right up for the middle of there.
All the mountain grey matter, like here, this noise of these fans going, it's impossible to shout. You see, you get some...
And because the chimney was between these two buildings, what I was explaining before, he couldn't fell it. He had to take it brick by brick, and he charged £7,000, and in today's money, that's £33,000. He's up there, and Donald's at the bottom, and he says, good man, Donald, he keeps me on straight in now. Pretty much, Donald would drag him out pub at lunchtime, and because he was teetotal, and Fred liked to drink a drink or two. And he also, Donald was always watched him. He said, if you had some young lad down there, some labourer, some young lad, he said he'd be always looking at some nice girl in the offices. So Donald was down the bottom with Land Rover, and then
Donald, my labourer down there, he's like a very important man, you see. You see, you get some young lad, like his heart can be in right place, but if he sees a girl in the office, he wanders away, and sort of when you need him, you know, you look down and he's gone.
And then he comes down for lunch and he gets his sandwiches out and he says, oh, cheese again. And he's eating it there and it's in that yard and that's where it is.
God, look at that. Something's gone wrong with it, Donald. Oh, bricks are coming out at all, alright, aren't they? Cheese butties again.
And he takes it down bit by bit, and that's the very, I think, episode 1 in the beginning. I think it's called episode 1. This is the chimney he's at. What isn't there anymore because he took it down, and in 2000 they built a bridge across there, and that pretty much tells you roughly with the location of the chimney. And that mill there is Lilac Mill, and I think the history goes Lilac Mill bought this mill, and that's why there's 2 mills now, and there's a bridge going between them. So that's the history on that, and there you go. That's another location of a Fred Dibnah chimney what I don't think's been documented. So there we go. That's pretty good, that is. And I can match it all up on the episodes, and you can see it for 2022 and then back down to 1978. So if you want to come to it and see that like location, like looking at the bridge there where the chimney was, the station's called Sean Crompton. It's a metro link, so it's a tram, and down the side of the platform you will see this little track, this little green track. Depends what time of year. In the winter this won't be overgrown, and in the summer it'll be overgrown. So look out for that track, get down there and you'll be able to look through at it and the 2 mills. Because you can't get in the mill because it's still a working mill and it's very difficult. Now loads of people in busy vests telling you off for filming. And we've come to Moss Mill, what still exists, but actually a long time ago when this mill was sort of created in the late 1800s, there was 3 mills on there. There was Era Mill, what was behind camera, Moss Mill, and then there was State Mill on the other side. And in 1979, Fred came here and he spoke to the man, because the mill, Era Mill, what was behind, was shut in 1977, and he came a few years later in 79, and he came and talked to the man about knocking the 2 chimneys down. The 2 chimneys were, the furthest mill nearest Moss Mill was Moss Mill's own chimney, and then the chimney on this side was Era Mill chimney, and he said I said it'd be 400 foot little and then 500 foot bigger, and that's what he knocked them down for, and it's a proper big felling job.
This is the job, Fred. These 2 chimneys, they won't drop it.
Oh, when you've got rid of mill, there'll be plenty of room. Like, I come the other day and had a look. There's an house over there on that corner. Well, if we can keep it away from that, where we don't want to upset the neighbours.
More towards the canal side.
Yeah. And we don't block canal up as well.
Make sure we don't.
Aye. We'll try and do them both at the same time, or not,
Well, do 2 for the price of 1, then you're all right.
Well, 400 foot little and 500 foot big one.
That's the cheapest you can do, is it?
And it's the most famous scene you'll see on Fred Dibnah's episodes, especially the early episodes, where he knocks it down and then he's going, it's going, and he goes onk, and then he goes done for, and it goes down, he goes done for, and then he goes, did you like that? And that's the most famous episode, and it was on here.
Going. Done for. Do you like that?
This very street, this is Woodbine Street East, this is, and I've got to thank Andy the Lens for showing me this location so we can come here today. And it was on here, and I can picture it all B-roll, and we can set it with the old episode, but all that mill there, and that little sort of mill there of that water tank's on the video, and there's actually policeman saying, Freddie said that the health and safety man's there, because all the TV's there, and policeman says, even health and safety man said, what's in that tank? And Fred said, he asked me that as well. I said, I don't know.
more of a mind than you.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go that way, and the wind's blowing that way. Everything's in its favour.
If it goes backwards, he says, you know, there's not a bloody 3 million to 1 chance.
He says to me, what's in that tank? I said, I don't know. I thought you'd be able to tell me that.
Yeah. I don't bloody know. He asked me as well.
So that's all in there, and all the street is on it, and the policeman putting tape across it so no one came near, but it was on here. And now...
Right, can we have everybody out, please? And beyond the white tapes.
And now it's Riverside Industrial Estate, and Moss Mill has like outlet things, there's like storage units and like businesses in it now. So yeah, it's on here. This is a place what not many people documented, and it's in Rochdale. We're on the edge of Rochdale. We've just come off Junction 21 on the M62 and got into edge of Rochdale, and we're on Woodbine Street East. Actually, we're at the next location, we're at Swan Lane, and it's a chimney that still exists. And what Fred had to do on the Swan Lane chimney, he was very upset because it was the last proper chimney in Bolton, or Bolton as you say.
This particular job is sort of a bit upsetting to me because it's like the last spinning mill in Bolton with a proper chimney.
And what he did, they paid him £4,500 to shorten the top of it, and it had all. He had to demolish all this fancy work on top of it, and he had to. I don't know how many feet he dropped it. It's a lot shorter today than it was before he made it shorter. Here, he was on film saying he developed, like the old steeplejacks used to do, a bucket system. And he made him out of 2 melt churns and some wire and a brake drum, so he could put the bricks in and send it down to the floor, and then as one bucket went down, another bucket went up, and like that.
This contraption I sort of invented myself purely through watching the steeplejacks of like 1940 and 50, and then I saw an improvement on that, 2 milk churns on a similar sort of setup that we've got here.
And it was here, and now it's just starting to rain on me now. We might have to get in the car, but this is Swan Lane, and it says Swan on it right up there. Swan and then Lane, it's really good. And it's all sort of derelict, half derelict now, but I think we might have to scarp it in a minute because I'm getting all wet. As you can see there, along the top of the, along your sort of drain pipes in your gutters, there's some, because of Swan Lane as in the mill, it's got swans sticking out the side of the mill. I can see about 2 there, one at the end and one at the other end. There's probably some around the other side as well. It's very interesting, that. It's an interesting building. Right, so we're on Croft Lane in Bolton, or Bolton, however you want to say it. We're at his mum's house. So when he was 17, he built that chimney up there. He said it was like the chimney next door. It had 4 pots on and only really one worked. So he knocked them all down and built his own chimney, and he didn't really design it. He sort of built it, and that's how it ended up looking like. And he'd go around clean it, and his mum said, "Where have you been?" He said, "Well, I've been here and there," but he ran round and cleaned it.
Oh, how do you do? Is it all right?
Where have you been?
Oh, well, we're, not so well. Doing our best. It'll all be done very smartly and speedily as possible.
Because when he was in Germany in war, well, he wasn't in war, when he did his service, I should say, he saw a man with a rope and a like what you clean the chimney with, and in the Europe, they drop your Chimneys sweep down like a lot of bricks going from the bottom. They drop it from top and then they cover the fireplace at the bottom so stuff wouldn't come out. So yeah, there it is. It's a listed chimney, a little chimney in Bolton. I bet people living in it now think it's a right nuisance and it lets out rain down the chimney and everything like that, but it's listed and you can't do anything with it. So there you go. And it's got such a good draft on it, it sucks your slippers off your feet.
It's got a lovely draft on it, you know. Suck your house slippers off when it's going at bottom.
Oh, 1984. So that's when he did this extension. And he had all scaffolding round here on TV. It was good, and he's putting his ball up. And he's going in, he gets that nice sort of industrial scene, and he puts it on top of his bed when it's all finished, and he's been up all night doing all his sanding and his floorboards and stuff. But on the back, I don't think it's on this side, on the back,
It's got a lovely draft on it, you know. Suck your house slippers off when it's going at bottom.